Good morning everyone. This is Sukanya from KV number 2 Jhansi. Today we are going to start with a chapter Body Fluids and Circulation, which is chapter number 18 of your book NCERT. And let's start with the chapter now. So the chapter name is Body Fluids and Circulation. What is the meaning of circulation? Now you all must be aware with this term circulation. Circulation means transportation, to circulate anything from one place to another. Okay, so for this circulation we have got different fluids in our body. That is, one of it is blood, and then we have another fluid called as lymph. So what is the basic function of circulation or circulatory system in your body? So let's get started with the functions of the circulatory system. First function of your circulatory system, that is to help in the transportation of gases. And you all know which are the gases which we are talking about, like it is CO2 and O2. Then circulatory system also helps in the transportation of nutrients. Nutrients are also transported. Then it is elimination of nitrogenous waste. After that, we know that there are endocrine glands which directly pour their secretion into the blood. Okay, and the secretions are hormones. So hormones are also transported with the help of the circulatory system. Then there are certain functions also performed by a circulatory system, such as providing immunity. It also provides immunity, as we know that circulatory system is done with the help of blood. So blood contains the cells called as WBCs, so it helps in immunity also. It maintains body temperature. Our body temperature is also maintained with the help of circulatory system. Then the one thing it is also done, that is the maintenance of pH of your body. So pH of your body is highly maintained with the help of blood. Okay, and our body pH is alkaline in nature. Okay, so these are the basic functions which are performed by a circulatory system. Okay, now we will start with the circulatory system. Our circulatory system comprises of three important things. Now which are the three important things? First was the blood. Okay, that is the circulatory fluid. Then there is a pumping organ which is called heart, and one most important thing, that is the blood vessels. Okay, so we are going to deal first with what is heart. Okay, then we will be following it with blood vessels, and then the most important thing is blood. So let's get started with what blood comprises of. Okay, so just wait a minute. So we'll wipe this out. Until the time you must have heard that basically blood is a circulatory fluid, and blood is, in an adult human being, blood comprises 5.5 liters. We have got 5.5 liters of blood, and the pH of blood is basically alkaline. Okay, the pH of blood is basically alkaline. That is, it is 7.4 to 7.6. Okay, and an average human being has 5.5 to 5.5 liters of blood. So blood is a circulatory fluid, and blood is made up of two major components. First major component is your plasma, and the second important constituents of your blood is formed elements. Okay, now what is plasma? Plasma basically comprises 55% of your blood is comprised of plasma, and the remaining That is, the 45% of your blood is comprised of formed elements. So let's start with what basically is plasma is. So plasma comprises of various things. So 90% of your plasma, 90% of your plasma is water, and other things which we can see, we can involve two components such as organic components. You all know organic means carbon, hydrogen, oxygen compounds. Okay. Then there are inorganic components also which are present in the plasma. Now what are the inorganic components and organic components? So inorganic components basically comprises of your salts. It comprises basically of your salts, and salts contain ions. You all know salt contain ions. So there are certain ions which are present in the blood, that are sodium ions, chloride ions, bicarbonate ions. Okay, bicarbonate ions. Then we will have potassium ions. Then we will have calcium ions, and so on. Okay, so what is the important function of these ions? Let's check it out. Sodium and chloride, these maintain the osmotic balance of our blood. Then bicarbonate ions help in the elimination or the transportation of by CO2. Then we have got potassium ions. Potassium ions are the important constituents in blood forming. And then calcium ions. Calcium ions does the work of blood clotting. Without the presence of calcium ions, we are not supposed, our body does not carries out blood clotting. So these are the important inorganic components which we have seen. Then later, certain eliminatory agents are also present. Elimination ions such as ammonia. Ammonia ions are present. Okay, so ammonia ions are removed out from our excretory organs. When our blood travels through the excretory organ such as kidneys and all, it is removed out. Ammonia is removed out. Okay, now the other things which you are going to see in your plasma is basically glucose. Okay, you will find glucose. You will also find amino acids. Then you will also find certain vitamins. Okay, then you will also find hormones. These are all present. Hormones are present, and then what else is present? Enzymes are the important constituent which are present in plasma, and certain proteins. Okay, certain proteins are also formed. So the proteins which are found, we will discuss them. What are the proteins present in the plasma? So let's check it out. How does the glucose and amino acids and vitamins existed in the blood or plasma? How are they existing? As you all know that when the digestion has occurred, all the digested food got present in the small intestine, and in the small intestine these nutrients were absorbed. With the help of absorption process, glucose, amino acids, vitamins, these all are present in the blood. So blood carries this glucose, amino acids and vitamins also. Now what are hormones? Hormones are the secretions of our endocrine gland, and hormones are present in the plasma. Indirectly we can say it is present in the blood, and as the blood travels to all parts of the body, the hormones will travel to the respective target site for carrying out their proper function. Then enzymes are basically, you all know, enzymes are called the biocatalyst, and enzymes are produced by certain exocrine glands or certain cells which are existing in our body. So this blood and blood also contains enzyme. Enzymes speed up a chemical reaction. So these all things are present in the plasma. We are basically discussing plasma here, and that is the important constituent of our blood. Okay. Then we also know that plasma also contain proteins. Now proteins, what are the types of proteins which are existing in our blood? So the type of proteins which are existing in our blood is basically, there are three proteins which we will discuss. First is the fibrinogen. First protein which we have to discuss is the fibrinogen. Second is your albumin, and the third is the globulin. Okay, so third is your globulin. Now, what we can discuss about the fibrinogen, as you all know, blood amongst the formed elements, it has got platelets. So, the most important thing of this part, fibrinogen, it is an insoluble protein which is present in our blood, which converts into a, it is a soluble form which converts into a insoluble form. Okay, so fibrinogen helps basically in blood clotting. Then we have got albumin. Albumin basically maintains the osmotic concentration of our blood. Then later we have got globulin. Globulin produces antibodies. Okay, the most important function of our globulin is the production of antibodies like IgA, and then we have got IgG and so on. Okay, so these are the important constituents of your plasma. That is, plasma is 55%. Just take a quick recap. Plasma is 55% percentage of the blood, and it is made up of 90% water. Then it has got certain organic substances. Then it has got certain inorganic components, which includes basically the salts like sodium chloride ions. They maintain the osmotic balance of the blood. Bicarbonate ions, they help in the elimination of carbon dioxide. Potassium help in the formation of blood formation. Calcium was helping in the blood clotting, and ammonium ions are helping in the removal. Basically, ammonium ions are present in the plasma as an excretory product, so they need to be removed. Okay, then we discussed about glucose, amino acids and vitamins. They are present in the plasma as a result of absorption. Hormones, due to the presence of endocrine glands, the hormones are transported into the blood, and enzymes, biocatalysts, they speed up a chemical reaction, or during the process of digestion we require the different enzymes. Along with that, I have discussed proteins also. Then there are certain substances which needs to be eliminated, and which are such substances? Such substances are urea, creatinine. Okay, so these are the agents which are, these are the substances which needs to be eliminated. So we have discussed till now plasma. So plasma constitutes the 55% of our blood. Now let's move on to the next topic. Basically, the next topic which we have to discuss is the formed elements. So the formed elements comprises of three type of blood corpuscles or corpuscles, you can pronounce them. So we have got three type of blood corpuscles. Which are the three type of blood corpuscles? First is the RBCs, that we also call them at erythrocytes. RBCs are also called as erythrocytes. They are the red blood corpuscles. Why we call them as red blood corpuscles? We'll see them. Then we have got the WBCs. There is a major division amongst the WBCs. We'll discuss. And the last important constituents is the platelets. Okay, so platelets are also called as thrombocytes. Thrombocytes. Platelets, other name for the platelets is thrombocytes. Now what is the important constituent, what are the other name for the WBC? It is leukocytes. Why they are called leukocytes? Because they do not have hemoglobin, and their color is white in nature. Why they are called erythrocytes? Because they contain hemoglobin, and as a result of hemoglobin they appear red in color. So let's discuss them in detail. Now what are the RBCs, what are the WBCs, what are the platelets or thrombocytes? So if we convert in this chart the division, we can also show here the division of WBCs. The WBCs are divided on the presence of granules on two types. They are of two types. First is the agranulocytes, and the later which you can talk is the granulocytes. Now what are these granulocytes? What are these agranulocytes? So granulocytes are the type of WBCs which contain granules in their cytoplasm. As it is a cell, it will have nucleus, it will have granules or the cytoplasm inside it. Then agranulocytes are the cells which do not have basically granules in the cytoplasm. So we have got three type of granulocytes. So I am mentioning it here. Three type of granulocytes are here. So first granulocyte is the neutrophil. The first granulocyte is the neutrophils. Then we have is the eosinophil. Next which we are having is the eosinophil, and then later the last one is the basophil. So why are they named so? Because neutrophil are getting stained by the neutral dyes, eosinophil are getting stained by the acidic dyes, or basically the name which it is getting stained is eosine dye. That is why the name is here eosinophil. So it can be also called as acidophil. So acidophil is the other name for this eosinophil. Next is the basophil. Basophil is basically getting stained with the help of a basic dye. So we call it as basophil. Clear? And agranulocytes include two types. Which are the two types in agranulocytes? In agranulocyte, the first is the monocyte, and the second one will be the lymphocyte. So monocyte and lymphocyte. So lymphocytes are again divided into two types. First is the B type of lymphocyte, and the second is the T type of lymphocyte. So we'll get them in detail after this. Just brief recap of this. Formed elements, that is the blood corpuscles. They are the RBCs, WBCs and platelets. So here RBCs are also called as erythrocytes, WBCs are called as leukocytes, and platelets are also called as thrombocytes. So just I mentioned it in the chart also, that leukocytes are divided into two types on the presence of granules or their absence. If the granules are present in the cytoplasm of the WBC, they will be called granulocytes. That is neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil. Now how are they divided? On the staining. By which dye are they getting stained? Then next which we have discussed is agranulocytes. Agranulocyte, there are two types, monocytes and lymphocytes. Okay, so monocytes and lymphocyte, they are the type of agranulocytes. Agranulocytes do not have granules in their cytoplasm. So here we finished the division of blood basically. Now we'll see individually what are the how are the RBCs formed, what about the WBCs, and later we'll discuss about the platelets also. So let's move on with the chapter forward. So here I am going to mention what are erythrocytes. Now what are erythrocytes? They are the RBCs. They are red in color due to the presence of hemoglobin. And if you look at the structure of RBC, the shape of RBC is basically biconcave. The shape of RBC is biconcave in nature. And let's move on with the erythrocytes in detail. So erythrocytes, now common name is RBCs. Okay. Now when we discuss about the shape of RBC, it is biconcave. Okay, biconcave shape. It is just like trying to draw basically. Okay, so this is a biconcave shape, and nucleus, they don't have nucleus, so the cells are enucleated. There are two exceptions to this. What are the exceptions? Llama, it is a sort of a camel, and originally the camel. Okay, so there are two types of mammals which do not which have nucleus in their RBCs. One is the llama and the second is the camel. Now where does RBC formation occurs? RBC formation whenever a baby is not born, so till that time the RBC formation occurs in liver at embryonic stage. Embryonic stage, the RBC formation occurs in the liver, and when a baby is born or in an adult stage, it occurs in the red bone marrow. Now where is the red bone marrow present? The red bone marrow is present itself in the bigger bones, long bones or big bones we can say. Okay, so such as thigh bone, and which is the femur. Okay, so this is the bone which leads to the formation of RBCs. Inside the red bone marrow, the formation of RBC occurs. Now what is the formation of RBC called? It is called erythropoiesis. The formation of RBC is called erythropoiesis. Clear? And where was it occurring? It was occurring in the liver at the embryonic stage, and in the big bone or the thigh bone in the red bone marrow. Clear? So this is the erythropoiesis, and basically in the adult stage. Then the RBCs have got cytoplasm and all. So what is in an adult human being, what amount of RBCs are present? That is 5 to 5 point million millimeter cubic, we can also write instead of this, millimeter cubic of blood. So these are this is the amount of WBC which is existing in an adult. Okay, but if suppose the RBCs are increasing in number, so if the RBCs are increasing in number, it is called polycythemia. Polycythemia, it is the increase in the count of RBCs, increased level. Okay, increased level is called polycythemia, and whenever there is decreased, it is called erythrocytopenia. Erythrocytopenia or erythrocytosis also. Then we have discussed a lot about the RBCs. Now what is the lifespan of RBC? The lifespan of an RBC is 120 days. 120 days an RBC survives. Now what is the most important function of this RBC? It has got red color. Why it is having red color? As it contains a pigment called as hemoglobin. What is the pigment? The pigment is the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a red colored pigment which is present in the RBCs. It provides it a red color. What a human being should have 12 to 14 gram percent of hemoglobin. If the level of hemoglobin decreases than 7, if it decreases than 7, so a person becomes anemic. A person is considered as anemic. Okay, so what are the functions of erythrocytes? Let's see them. Function is basically the transportation of gases. Transportation of gases, that is O2 and CO2. Now how does it occur? How does the formation of erythrocytes help in the transportation of oxygen? We have already discussed it, but we will see here. Oxygen combines with hemoglobin. Oxygen combines with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. Okay, so oxyhemoglobin is basically not a tight compound. It can break, it can dissociate. Wherever in our body we are facing lack of oxygen, this oxyhemoglobin compound is going to dissociate. A hemoglobin will be separate and oxygen will be transferred to that part of the body. Next is CO2 plus hemoglobin. So it forms carbaminohemoglobin. It forms carbaminohemoglobin. So I hope we have discussed erythrocytes here completely. Let's check it out. Erythrocytes were called RBCs because they are red in color. Their shape is biconcave. They have no nucleus in basically adult mammals. Then in some mammals it is present, that is the llama and camel. Then there are RBC formation. Process is called erythropoiesis. In adult it occurs in the red bone marrow, basically in the bigger bones or the long bones, thigh bone, and it is also occurring in the liver during the embryonic stage. Then we discussed an adult has 5.5 to 5.5 millimeter cubic of blood. The number is in millions. They are present in millions. Then we discussed about if the number of RBC increases, the condition is called polycythemia, and if it is decreases, it is called erythrocytopenia. Then we discussed about the lifespan. Lifespan of an RBC is 120 days. RBC survived for 120 days, and then we were having the function. The function of the RBC was to transport the gases O2 and CO2. How the O2 is transported? With the help of a pigment which we called as hemoglobin. And one hemoglobin molecule can transport 4 oxygen. One hemoglobin molecule can transport 4 oxygen. So O2 combines with the hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin, and wherever there is a lack of oxygen in the tissue, it will be dissociated and the tissue will be rich with oxygen. Later the hemoglobin is free to carry out the other oxygen molecule. Then the next is CO2 and hemoglobin. CO2 also combines with the hemoglobin to form carbaminohemoglobin, and then it is transported towards the alveoli, and from the alveoli it breaks down to carbon dioxide and it is released out. Okay, so here we have discussed an adult human being should have 12 to 14 gram percentage of hemoglobin in his blood, and if a person is having less than 7% of hemoglobin in his blood, the person is considered anemic. Okay, so here we have finished with the RBCs, and they are enucleated, most important thing. So it's all about the RBCs. Then we'll go forward with the leukocytes. Leukocytes a bit, we can say it is a lengthy topic to discuss about the leukocytes. Let's have a look with the leukocytes. Now leukocytes. So with the leukocytes we can discuss here them as WBCs. Okay, so WBCs. So what is the important function of this WBC? In childhood we used to say that they are the soldiers of human body. Okay, they are the soldiers of human body because they increase our immune power. Okay, so they increase our immune power. How are they increasing our immune power? What types are they? Let's go with them now. Okay, so here first is the agranulocyte. In the chart itself we will discuss. Agranulocytes are of two types. First, agranulocyte, which we can discuss here, is monocyte. Then we have got the lymphocyte. Now WBCs have nucleus. WBCs have cytoplasm. WBCs have granules, granulocytes. Granulocytes are of three types. Neutrophil, then we will discuss about the basophil. Then there are eosinophil. Straight away going to their structures. Neutrophil looks like this, as it is already having granules, so we will mention the granules. And the nucleus is basically we can say polymorphonuclear cell they are called. They are also called as PMN cells. Why are they called PMN cells? Because the nucleus is having various morphologies. Okay, then we have got basophil. Basophil is trilobed. So again it will be having the granules, and how it is looking like this, it is having 2 lobes or 3 lobes. Okay, so it is trilobed. And if you look at the eosinophil, eosinophil is basically bilobed. Its nucleus is bilobed. So here small one and here this one. Okay, so this is the structure of eosinophil. Then if you look at the monocyte, monocyte has the lymphocyte. Okay, so monocyte is having a kidney shaped nucleus. Lymphocyte is having a kidney shaped nucleus. And monocyte has got a single large circular nucleus. As you all know, it is not having any granules, so I am not showing any granules. These are the shapes of the nucleus. So from here in this diagram, we come to know that the leukocytes are nucleated cells. They are the nucleated cells and having cytoplasm filled with granules in some cells, and some cells it does not have granule. So the neutrophil is present in 60 to 70%. 60 to 70% of leukocytes are the neutrophils. And what is the important function which is performed by the neutrophils? That is basically phagocytosis. Now you mean, what do you mean by the term phagocytosis? Phago means engulfment and cytosis means to engulf certain foreign cell such as antigen like a bacteria or a virus. Phagocytosis is done by the neutrophil. Then later we have got the basophil. Basophil is basically help us in the allergic conditions. Whenever we have got some kind of allergy, the work of the basophil is to release certain substances like the histamine. Histamine is the major allergic substance. Whenever we face allergy like sneezing, coughing starts, that is due to the histamine. And one more substance is released, that is the heparin. Heparin and histamine are released basically by the basophil. They are released during the condition of allergy. And eosinophil percentage is very less, 0 to 3%. Okay, and eosinophil is less in if we compare with this. So eosinophil are the least among the neutrophil and the basophil is the least. Eosinophil comes on the second number. We can say it as 20 to 25%. We will discuss it with. Okay, then eosinophil, whenever we have got an infection, whenever we have got an infection, the eosinophil will increase. So infection means entry of the pathogen and its multiplication in our body, that is infection. So whenever we have got infection with any of the pathogen, the level of eosinophil is going to increase in our body. Okay, now let's move on to the monocytes. The one most important function which is performed again by the monocyte is only phagocytosis. So there are two cells which are basically performing the function of phagocytosis. One is the monocyte and the other is the neutrophil. Now what is the important function of lymphocytes? Okay, so lymphocytes are of two types. What is the first type? They are called B lymphocyte, and here we have got the T lymphocyte. The B lymphocyte are called bone marrow. B lymphocytes are called the bone marrow lymphocytes, and the T is called the thymus lymphocytes, and the T1 are called the thymus lymphocytes. Okay, so lymphocytes are present in the lymph. I'm just going to mention it here. Lymphocytes, they are present in lymph. What is the lymph? We'll see it right after this. So lymphocytes and the B lymphocyte help in the production of antibodies. B lymphocyte help in the production of antibodies. They are produced in the bone marrow. B lymphocytes are produced in the bone marrow, and then T lymphocyte, they are formed in the thymus. What is the important function of this T lymphocyte? The work of the T lymphocyte is to help the B lymphocyte. They are helping in the B lymphocyte for carrying out their function. The immunity which is provided by the B lymphocyte is called humoral immunity. And the immunity which is provided by the T lymphocyte is cell mediated immunity. It is cell mediated immunity. So B lymphocyte provides humoral immunity, and cell mediated immunity is provided by your T lymphocytes. So this is about the lymphocytes, basically the lymphocyte and the general description of the leukocytes. Okay, so just have a look. What is the lifespan of the WBCs? The lifespan of WBCs varies among each of the cells. So, but the lifespan of RBCs is not great. WBC is not greater than 1 to 3 days. new RBCs are formed, new WBCs are formed after 1 to 3 days. Now, we have already discussed about the structure of them. The most important thing about WBCs is that it helps us to detect whether we are having any infection or whether we are going to be deceased in future. It tells us about it. So the an average human being has got 6,000 to 8,000 WBCs in millimeter cubic of blood. So the count of WBCs in an adult is 6,000 to 8,000 millimeter cubic of blood. Clear? Formation of WBC is called leukopoiesis. Formation of WBC is called leukopoiesis. Now, as we have discussed that RBC count increases, it was called polycythemia, and if it count would decrease, it was called erythrocytopenia. It was called, है ना? So here it the same thing. When we talk about leukocytes, if its level increases, we call it as leukocytosis. If its level increases, if the count of WBC increases, we call it as leukocytosis, and if it decreases, we call it as leukocytopenia. Penia means decrease. Penia means decreased. Clear? And whenever we go to a doctor, sometimes we fall ill, the doctor tells us to perform the TLC count and the DLC. Now, what is the full form of this TLC and DLC? TLC. TLC means total leukocyte count. Okay, so you all know the total leukocyte count in an adult, healthy adult, is 6,000 to 8,000. But if the level increases than this, then the doctor tells us that we are having a kind of infection or a pathogen has entered in our body. So the condition is called leukocytosis. But if the level decreases, then we call it as leukocytopenia. One more term I have discussed, told to you, that is DLC, that is differential leukocyte count. Now, what is the meaning of this differential leukocyte count? I told you the leukocytes are present in different concentration. Highest amount is neutrophil, then it is eosinophil, then it is basophil. So if the count, suppose neutrophil count increases, or suppose basophil or eosinophil, the specific disease can be diagnosed. Whether if a person is having more 0 to 3% of basophil, it means he is suffering from allergy. If the percent is 20-25 of eosinophil, its percentage get increased, then the patient is suffering from infection, and so on. Okay, so monocyte, it may prove us that patient is having a sort of disease. Okay, so this is the important thing which we have discussed about the leukocytes. So leukocytes are called WBCs. They don't have any pigment. Now let's discuss what is the important function of these leukocytes. Okay, just rubbing on this. So already we have discussed the important function of leukocytes. So first thing, function of the leukocyte. First, provides immunity. It provides immunity. Now, what do you understand by the term immunity? Immunity means power to fight against diseases, which is provided by our immune system. Okay, so immunity is provided with the help of these WBCs. Second thing is that it helps us to phagocytosis, spelling phagocytosis. ठीक है, phagocytosis of foreign antigen. And the most important thing of WBCs is that they also perform diapedesis. Now, what is this diapedesis? As we all know that our WBCs do not have a proper shape. They are basically amoeboid in shape. What is the shape of them? Amoeboid. They are amoeba-like. So they move from one place to other. So the amoeboid movement which is performed by the WBC, movement of WBCs, is called diapedesis. And WBCs are very important part wherever we got hurt or some accident occur. The WBCs within a minute or within a second reaches to that part. So that function is performed with the help of the WBCs itself. And it does not allow the disease to spread forward, as it will kill the pathogen or antigen which is going to be present in that area. Okay, so here a short description of your leukocytes. Then we will see about the last formed element, that is the platelets. That is the platelets. Now what are platelets? In an adult human being, the platelets are present 1,65,000 to 3 lakhs. Okay, so that is the concentration of the platelets. So here we are going to start with the platelets. Platelets are called thrombocytes. Platelets are called thrombocytes, and platelets' important function. The platelets do not have nucleus. Absent. There is no nucleus in the platelets. Again, their shape is amoeboid. Irregular shape, rather, we can say like this. They are irregular shaped. Then we can say the formation of platelets is called thrombopoiesis. Thrombopoiesis. Poiesis means formation. Formation of platelets. Then an adult has an adult count of platelets. Adult count of platelets is 1,65,000 to 3 lakhs millimeter cubic of blood. This is the count of platelets in an adult human being. Now the most important thing about thrombocytes or the platelets is that they carry out blood coagulation or clotting. Now what is the important thing about clotting? It does not occur inside our blood. It does not occur inside our blood, and whenever we had met an accident or whenever we got cut a finger or a hand, you must have seen that a clot or a thread-like structure just deposit on that portion of our body where we got cut, and if the blood does not flows out or the blood does not oozes out. Why is it so? This is due to the thrombocytes or the platelets. Okay, so the most important function of our thrombocytes or platelets is to carry out the function of coagulation of blood. And if a person is not able to carry out the process of coagulation, he must have suffered from a disease called as hemophilia. Hemophilia, it is a clotting disorder, and a person may die if the blood completely oozes out, and a person may die also due to this disease. It is also called as Royal's disease, and that was present in the Queen Victoria family. Queen Victoria family has got this, the gene of hemophilia. It is a sex-linked recessive disorder. It is a sex-linked recessive disorder. So, if the blood does not have platelets, the blood will ease out and the patient will die. So, platelets, also called as thrombocytes, nucleus is absent. It appears as if a nucleus is present, but that is not the nucleus. It is certain cytoskeletal structure which is present inside in the platelets. Like this, it is mesh-like structure which is present in this. But don't get confused it with the nucleus. Their shape is irregular shape, and the process of formation of thrombocytes is called thrombopoiesis. An adult has got 1,65,000 the platelets inside it, and again if the level falls below, then that condition is called thrombocytopenia. Penia word is always related to decrease of platelets. decrease of platelets word is related to penia, thrombocytopenia, okay. And thrombocytosis, what is the meaning of thrombocytosis? The meaning of thrombocytosis, what is the meaning? It states increase in platelet count. Increased platelet count. So, if you were just want to know the function of platelets, which I have already told you, important function is coagulation or clotting of blood. Coagulation or clotting of blood. So this is all about the thrombocytes. So we have discussed till now about the circulation, what are the important functions of circulation, and then we discussed about blood. Blood is made up of two components, that is the plasma and formed elements. Plasma we have discussed, it was carrying hormones, it was carrying antibodies, that is the immunoglobulin, glucose, vitamins, hormones, and certain eliminatory substances which need to be eliminated out of our body. And then we discussed about the formed elements. Formed elements were three. The formed elements which were there are basically RBC, WBC and platelets and individual function of them. In the next video, we will discuss about the blood grouping, that is the ABO blood grouping system, and then the RH blood grouping system. What about erythroblastis fetalis? This all. Then we will discuss about the lymph also, the lymphatic system in short, which will be followed by the human circulatory system. It will include heart, it will include the blood vessels. That's all for today.